like to talk about some of the confrontations I've had. I'm not a fighter. I don't look like a fighter, do I? I don't look like Mr. T. You but doesn't mean people don't come after me. I've had my fights. I've had groups of people come after me in the middle of an AA meeting. You know, I'd be sitting there listening to my phone or something, and they come and attack me. 6 of them beat me up in the middle of an AA meeting. Very shocking. I never expected it. You know, AA promotes nonviolence, unless it comes to me. So, yeah. And I don't know if I discussed this in a past video. I have a lot of videos out there, and if you see it in another video, well, so be it. But one time I don't know the exact number. I think it was 5 or 6 guys attacked me, and they got me on the floor, and they were holding me down. And I didn't do anything. I was sitting there listening to music on my phone, and they came in and started it with me. And the meeting hadn't started. It was before the meeting. So. But they got me on the floor, and they sat on top of me and called the cops. And I don't know. Cops took a long time to get there, and they were holding me down for a while. This one guy, Chris, was the main guy that was holding me down, wouldn't let me up. And it was really hurting me. I was hurting. I couldn't breathe because he was really on top of me. And, But, I didn't fight back. I didn't, But, didn't matter. I have a T-shirt. I make a lot of T-shirts. I have 2,000 T-shirts, and they're all have different sayings on them. Karma's a bitch, and one I have is I irritate your demons, and I do. A lot of people get triggered by my videos and by my presence, because I make them look at themselves, and they see what they lack in themselves, and but not my fault. I don't do it on purpose. It's just who I am, nothing I can do about it. Most part, people don't attack me because of it. They might say something nasty or something to me, but I know where it's coming from, and it doesn't piss me off or anything. It doesn't, I'm there for that reason. That's why I'm there. I'm there to wake people up and have them look at themselves in a way that they can help themselves and heal themselves. And you can't fix something unless you acknowledge it. Nothing's broken unless you know it's broken. So you're not going to fix it if you don't think it's broken. And I make people realize they have something broken in them, and they don't like that. In AA, those people have loads of things broken in them. My God, nothing but. It's like shattered glass, cracks all over the place. And that's why they attack me. So, but the point, also, the guy Chris that put me on the floor, it wasn't 2 months after he had done that. And he was, I don't know how old he was, but he was in his 40s, late 40s. He had a wife and two teenage boys. So he wasn't young. He was an adult, and he had, I don't know, 17 years sober or something. He had many years sober. I knew him for many years. Never had a problem with him until that day. But I thought I was always nice to him. I said hello. I don't know what more he wanted me to do, but nice to his wife. His wife liked me. I don't know. Came out of the blue. You know, I wasn't surprised, but I was surprised for him. You know, and 2 months after he put me on the floor, he hung himself. He hung himself. So, you know, I tell people all the time, don't mess with me. Don't mess with me. I'm bait. I'm bait. They took the bait and they ended up on God's plate. And that's the way it works. You know, I didn't kill him. God did. You know, I don't kill people. I make you kill yourself. And that's what he did. He killed himself. You know, so. And you can say, oh, you're not responsible. Or, oh, he didn't kill himself because of you and what happened. And nah, he did. I know for a fact he did. So, you know, he might not have even thought he was doing it because of that, but it started the snowball down the hill when he attacked me. You know, it was the thing that started everything until he ended it with hanging himself. You know, so. But and I have other stories like that. You know, the meeting hall where they beat me up in. I don't think it was 2 months, and the church sold the church sold the property to a developer, and the developer kicked the meeting off the property, and they lost their meeting hall. You know, they messed with me. They lost their meeting hall. You know, so yeah. But you know, if I was able to go public, people would attack me. You know, I'm sure I would love to hear what Donald Trump would have to say about me. I'm sure it'd be very hysterical. You know, especially if he heard the things I say about him. I think it would be very moronic, whatever he said. It would be very stupid, you know. And it wouldn't be true either. It wouldn't be true. So, most of the things I say about him are true. What do you say about me wouldn't be true. It wouldn't stop him. And I wouldn't move to Ireland because of it. You know, I don't care. I sure don't expect any pardon from him anytime soon. I don't need one. That's why he wouldn't like me, because I don't need a pardon. I don't need to suck his you-know-what, like everybody else that's around him. I'm not buying his crypto anytime soon, or ever. So, you know. But, and the thing too is, if I was to have a fight in public or on TV or anything, I wouldn't attack. I wouldn't. To me, somebody attacking me verbally, physically, emotionally, whatever, it's an invitation for me to attack. And it's an invitation to a fight. And just because you're invited to a fight doesn't mean you have to go. You know. And I don't go. It leaves them even more frustrated because they can't get me to fight them. And I didn't fight Chris. I really didn't fight it. Yeah. But he paid the price. And when you come after me in those ways, and you're going to pay the price. And I don't have to attack you. I don't have to go back at you. I don't have to prove I'm the bigger man, I'm the stronger man, I'm the more emotionally stable man. I don't have to prove anything to you. I am what I am, and if you don't like it, there's the door. You know. One time I had an argument. It wasn't a fight because there wasn't no punches thrown, but I had an argument with a guy. It's funny, he was running the meeting. He was leading the meeting. And he stopped the meeting and got up and started screaming in my face. Screaming in my face. I don't want to get into all about why and all that stuff, but he said, I said, you're in a meeting hall right now in a church. He said, let's take it outside. Let's go to the parking lot. I want to take you down in the parking lot. And he thought I was going to follow him. One of the guys from the meeting that I knew walked me out. I walked right to my car and I left. I didn't need to fight that asshole. Yeah, I would have kicked his ass if I did, but I don't need to prove that. I don't need to do that. It makes me look like the maniac. He was down in the parking lot, all pissed off when I drove by him. Like, whatever, you loser drunk. So, and he was a narcissist, and that was the whole fight, what the fight was about, because I called him narcissist, and he was, and he said his therapist told him he was a narcissist, so he was mad that I knew. Narcissists like hiding their narcissism. They don't want anybody to know they're a narcissist, so when I said it out loud, he got mad, but, yeah. And, there were like, I don't know, 3 weeks, maybe it was 3 weeks after he did that. He has 3 or 4 brothers. One of his brothers killed himself. Well, I don't know if I should take credit for that, but I'm not sure that I don't deserve credit for that. So it's all fucked up. I'm telling you, my spirit guides, my God, your God in general, he gets you in ways you can't imagine, in ways you'll never figure out. And he doesn't always go for you. He'll go for your kids. He'll go for your wife. And make you suffer. But this is, I've had a lot of confrontations, not a lot, but enough. When I worked in the city, I worked in Manhattan, and I lost a lot of jobs because girls would just literally cry in the office because I wouldn't have anything to do with them. Either I didn't find them attractive or I didn't even know they liked me. And they were mad because I didn't try to pick them up. They would cry. And the boss would be like, you gotta go. We can't have this in the office. I'm like, I knew it was coming. It wasn't no surprise. I was much better looking when I worked in the city. I was in my 20s. I was in my late 20s. And my hair was better. And this beard is horrible. I can't stand looking at this beard. But anyway, it's just I couldn't take a subway into Manhattan. I had to start driving into Manhattan and paying for parking and all that. And because when I took the subway, the girls on the subway would start crying, literally crying on the platform, on the train. Either they like in their own way signal me and let me know they like me and they want me to talk to them and all that, and I would ignore them and get off the train, and they break out in tears. So happened many more times than once. But I had this one girl, I was trying to pick up this blonde on the subway, and I just turned to her and started talking to her. She was pretty, the blonde, and and then it turned out she had a boyfriend, and I was like, okay. I still kept talking to her. Wasn't trying to pick her up at that point anymore. And just, how you doing? Whatever. On the train, going home. She had to get off at a spot before mine. I was getting off, and that was fine. She got off her spot, and that was it. I stood there holding the bar and standing on the train. And this girl that I knew from the bus, because I took the bus to the train or the train to the bus. And this girl I knew on the bus, I had never talked to her. But she knew me. And she knew not my name or anything. She didn't know me that way, but she knew me from the bus. And so I'm standing there holding the bar, and the door opens, and before the door opened, it was pulling into the station, and she knew the door was going to open. And she stands in front of me and starts wailing, and starts not throwing punches, but crying, wailing, wailing tears, and starts screaming, "Why? Why?" I'm standing there in amazement. I was in shock, at what she was saying, and the subway door opened, and she ran out, and I didn't run after her or anything, but I knew I had to go to my bus. I had to go to the bus stop, and I figured she'd be at the bus stop, and she wasn't. I looked for her, but she wasn't there, so, I never saw her again. Never saw her again. Never took the bus to the subway again. Never took the subway into the city again. I drove into the city after that day. I didn't want to hurt. I didn't want to hurt girls. I didn't want to hurt them. And I felt if I drive into the city, I won't run into girls, and I won't end up. I was single too at the time. I wasn't dating anybody. I just told you I was trying to pick up the blonde. But I was like, "Yeah, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it." Yeah. So, stopped driving into the city. And I worked for EMI Records, and the girl that was in the cubicle ahead of me, like on the opposite side of my wall, that was her cubicle, and she would sit in that cubicle and cry. She would cry because she wanted me, and at that point I did have a girlfriend, and I wasn't doing anything with her, and she would cry, and they fired me. They made up a whole story of why they fired me, but I knew. So, what I could do, I had a girlfriend. She knew I had a girlfriend. She didn't care. She had a boyfriend. That was the funny thing. She had a boyfriend, but she didn't care. But it was, I used to drive that girl, the one in the cubicle. I used to drive her home and pick her up in the morning and drive her to work. And we would split the parking in the garage and stuff. And everything was fine, I thought. And we would have good conversations and stuff on the way in. And there was a park by one of the bays of the river. Not a river, but it's like a bay. And there's a park in Queens. It's on the bay, and me and my girlfriend were at the park, and I never go to that park. And there was the only time I ever went to that park. And we had rollerblades, and we were rollerblading in the park. And the girl in the cubicle, she was at the park, and she was at the park with her two sisters. Now, one of the sisters I knew because I had given her a ride. I recognized I didn't know her, and just gave her a ride in the car and picked her up and took her home from the city. So she wasn't a complete stranger in that sense. But me and my girlfriend, she didn't want me to deal with no other women. I couldn't do nothing with any of them. In fact, I worked in the city, drove her crazy. But, and I rollerbladed past this girl in the cubicle. she started busting out in tears, busting out in tears. And I heard the sister started screaming at me. And I'm on rollerblades, and I'm chasing my girlfriend because she's way ahead of me. And I'm on my rollerblades, and the sister's screaming, "Look what you're doing! Look what you did to her!" Because she's upset that I upset the sister, and I felt for the whole situation. I didn't want to. I didn't go there to meet the girl, and I had no clue that it was just a chance happening. And what am I supposed to do? So I kept going, and it didn't work out well. I didn't know what to do. I felt like I was being pulled in different directions, and since I had a girlfriend and I wasn't dumping her for her, and that's why. And then what happens? I got a job there. I work from home. After I left the EMI, I got a job with a public accounting firm. And a lot of the times I was able to work from home. I had to go in the city still, but it was different. It was just for appointments that I had to do and for the job and stuff. But, and I had an office in the city, but it was different. And I drove in. I didn't take the subway. But I got an opportunity to work from home, and I worked from home a lot. That sucked too, because I didn't have the problems that I just spoke of, but I didn't have any friends either. I didn't have any social life. I didn't have any, people in the office didn't know who I was. They're like, "Oh, you work here?" I'm like, "Yeah." And I still had one of the main clients of the public accounting firm was a union, and one of the girls in the union was in love with me, and she was crying. I just couldn't get away with it. I'm not bragging. I think you can tell I'm not bragging. I'm just trying to relate to you a story about my past and how I had effects on people and stuff. And, it's not like I tried to pick them up. I didn't do anything. I was just standing there, I didn't wear dresses or anything back then. I wore casual clothes. I didn't have to wear a suit and tie, but that didn't help when I did. But I wore a ring. I had a graduation ring, but I put it on my wedding ring finger, and that made girls think I was married, and that didn't work either. Actually, that was a big negative. And they would get really mad when they say, "Oh, you married?" I'm like, "Nah." I would say no, and they get all mad. They're like, "Why do you got the ring on the finger?" I'm like, "It's a deterrent." It's a deterrent. And they would get all mad. I'd go win. No matter what I did, I'd go win. So, yeah. Story in my life. I can't tell you. I can't tell you enough. Don't mess with me. Please, just don't mess with me. I know I irritate you demons. I know I annoy stupid people. But coming after me is the worst thing you can do. I don't want you to get hurt. I don't want my God or my demons or my angels, whoever's around me, to go after you. But they will. And I don't control them. They do what they want. So I don't want that to happen. But, just come to me with good intentions, and You'll have no problem. You'll have no problem. So. It's a big reason why I stayed single all these years, besides the fact that I didn't want to be blackmailed by, and I didn't want to have kids, and I had a lot of reasons why I didn't get myself into relationships. But the drugs didn't help. Didn't make it easier. The fact that I live on Social Security didn't help. You know, most girls want somebody who's got money, and I don't. So. Yeah. My life is what it is, and I have no regrets on how it turned out or which direction it took. And I don't know where it's going from here, but I'm all for whichever way it goes, whatever happens. You know? So it's not up to me anyway. It's up to the big man upstairs, and you know, whatever he wants to do with me, I'm his bait, and he's gonna put me where he needs bait to be, and that's what he uses me for, you know. So I was bait in jail, I was bait in the psych ward, and for whatever reason, whoever went after me and revealed themselves to God that they were not good people. So he's taking care of them. They're getting bad karma in their life right now. And, you know, I wore a shirt that said bait. I have a shirt that says the word bait. I have another shirt that says shark bait. You know, but it doesn't matter. I told you, you could put a sign on a worm and you'll still catch fish. You know, but that's what happened. I told them I was bait, and they still went after me. So it doesn't matter. They can't resist. They can't resist. Their demons aren't smart enough, and they're too opportunistic. I put myself in a vulnerable position so that they do come after me, and you know, like the worm is in a, you know, the worm doesn't hide in the sand when it's on the hook. It dangles right in the ocean, in the middle of the waters, and so the fish can find it easily. You know, and that's me. I'm wide open. I'm here on YouTube telling you my life story, and you know, I'm bait. I'm bait here, right now. I'm being bait. You know, certain people will attack me because of these videos, and they're meant to. They're meant to. So I'm not surprised with it. Chris, he took the bait. Yeah, he took the bait. That guy in the other meeting took the bait. Took the bait, and his brothers died from it, and Chris died from it. Took the bait. So, yeah, I'm telling you, I'm warning you as much as I can. Don't take the bait. And that doesn't mean you ignore me or hate me. Just don't attack me. That's all. Have a good day.